Welcome to Into the Night. I'm Nari, your guide on today's excursion down a twisted path. Be careful not to get lost. Be it dark or light, it's easy to lose your way. Are you ready? Then let's begin. A Hero's Welcome, Part 3, The Conclusion. A sudden jolt brought Judd to consciousness. He was so startled by the violent shake that he sat up too quickly and slammed his head against the lid of the life pod. Pain mixed with drowsiness, but the horrific sounds and sensations coming from the craft brought him to his senses. Judd fumbled with the latch to the life pod and popped the door to it open. Alarms blared, and there was no mistaking the fact that the spaceship was hurtling toward Planet Cash, heading for a crash landing. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! This is Commander Judd Simpson. Control, can you hear me? I repeat, this is Commander Simpson. The craft is going down. Do you hear me? Judd shouted into the radio, but only static was on the line. Damn! He tossed the receiver to the side and grabbed the controls. Nothing responded to his attempts to regain command of the ship. I'm going down. I'm going down. The blue and green of Planet Cash grew closer and closer. The G-forces gained momentum as the ship plummeted. All went black. At first, the only sensation Judd had was pain. Searing, stabbing pain screamed through his body. His suit was torn, and blood seeped from wounds caused by compound fractures. Help! Can anyone help me? He called. Then he realized the folly of calling for help. I'm somewhere on a distant planet. If someone does find me, I'll probably wish I was already dead. A sound of footsteps outside the craft caused him to be still. The end was near. I hope it's over quickly. He passed out from the pain, blood loss, and anxiety. Hours, or was it days later, he regained consciousness. Bright lights made it difficult to open his eyes. His body was immobilized, and he panicked. Much like rousing from a bad dream, he struggled to both move and make sense of his surroundings. The beeping of a heart monitor and the antiseptic smell of the room convinced Judd that he was in some sort of hospital. Someone entered through the door and lifted his only wrist not encased in a cast. Pain subsided and his vision became even more blurry. He was disoriented to the point that he doubted what he saw, or what he thought he saw, was accurate. Before he could focus, the injection into his IV knocked him unconscious once again. For weeks, his days and nights were filled with vague impressions, bad dreams, and thankfully healing. He was fed intravenously and slowly grew stronger. At first, the delirium kept him from understanding what the doctors and nurses said to him. Over time, the medical team reduced his pain medication, and the world around him became clearer. One day, his physician came to him with good news. I believe you're ready to start eating solid foods again. In a few minutes, the nurse will bring you a tray. I'm sure it will be different than what you're accustomed to, but it will meet all your dietary needs. Judd struggled to speak, but he couldn't get words to form, at least not quickly enough for conversation. He clenched his jaw in frustration. The doctor patted him on the arm. Relax. Your language will come back to you. Right now, we are doing all we can to heal your body. You were nearly killed in your accident. A speech therapist will work with you when the time comes. Time went slowly, but little by little, Judd regained his ability to both walk and talk. The less focused he became on pain and recovery, the more he noticed the world around him. These people are really nice, and Lorraine, the speech therapist, has really helped me learn about their culture. I wasn't sure about their food at first, but I'm really starting to like it. He continued to be frustrated by some of his limitations, but the medical staff assured him,
Judd, you were as banged up as your ship when we found you. We have used every tool we have to repair your broken body.
For now, continue with the infusions and the therapy. Take walks, get fresh air. It will do you good. Judd took the advice to heart, and he marveled at the beauty of the planet. The sky was blue, and the grass was green, just like Earth. Sunsets were as beautiful as the ones he'd watched from his balcony back home, and he enjoyed the cool breezes blowing in from the coast. The beach was only a mile away, according to his doctor, Dr. Walken. In fact, he'd been told that most of the inhabitants of Linden, the actual name of Planet Cash, lived in the coastal areas and raised their families there. Few ventured into the interior sections of the continents. As he was treated, Judd felt more energetic. He walked with fewer problems and his strength returned. Since our atmospheres are so similar, we've done everything we can to help you adjust to your temporary home here on Linden. I'm pleased with how well you are adapting to life on our planet. Keep up the good work. Months went by, and the staff at the hospital welcomed Judd into their homes. He met their families and found making friends on the planet easy. In fact, it was easier to make friends here than back on Earth. Dr. Walken frequently had him over for dinner, and he introduced him to his fellow physicians and scientists he'd attended school with. A few of his college professors were eager to meet the new arrival from a foreign planet. One of those esteemed gentlemen was Dr. Harnsdorf.
It's thrilling to meet you, Judd. I've wondered what it was like on your planet. There's so much our two civilizations can learn from each other. I agree. I'm pleased to see how friendly and helpful you are here, and your language has been surprisingly easy to learn. Well, young man, you are an intelligent and fast learner. Come see me at my office in 2 days, and I'll open up our library on campus for you. That would be amazing, thank you. I want to learn as much as I possibly can. I only hope I'm able to make it back home someday. My ship was badly damaged in the crash.
Dr. Harnsdorf patted him on the shoulder.
That will be no problem at all. Let me talk to a friend of mine. He's the head of the aeronautics department at the university. I'm sure something can be worked out to repair your ship. We can learn from your technology, and in return, we'll get your ship operational once more.
This was more than Judd had ever hoped for. 2 days later, he met Dr. Harnsdorf at his office. Still suffering from a slight limp, it was all he could do to keep up with the professor, who was spry for his age, as they made their way to the campus library. Once there, Dr. Harnsdorf pulled a key from his pocket and opened the door. Books, row after row and floor after floor of books awaited Judd. His jaw dropped.
Here are some notepads for you, and you are welcome to come here for as long as you want to. I can't thank you enough, sir. It's my pleasure. Who knows? Maybe someday, after you've acted as an ambassador between our two planets, I will be able to come to Earth and learn from you. That is exactly what will happen. I'll make certain of it.
The old man smiled.
Well, you have a lot to go through here. Have at it.
Over the next year, Judd did just that. He learned everything he could about Linden, its history, its science, its culture, and its structure of government. We have so much to learn from these people. At about the same time, his ship was completed. Dr. Kendron of the aeronautics department led him to the hangar where his ship awaited him.
It looks a bit different than it did before, but we had to nearly start from scratch. It was badly mangled. I'm still surprised you survived. If it wasn't for the wonderful doctors and nurses who saved me, I wouldn't have lived. Yes, we do have fine medical care here. Accidents rarely claim lives on Linden. Now come aboard and see what you think.
Judd climbed the steps and stood, dumbfounded. Not only had the outside of his craft taken on a new configuration, but the inside was completely transformed. He sat in the command chair and marveled at
how much more comfortable and practical the cockpit was now. Our human factors engineers could learn a thing or two from your people. This is amazing. Dr. Kendron grinned a toothy grin. Now, young man, you're going to make me blush with praise like that. I mean it, sir. This is so much better than before. Someday, I hope to repay you for all you've done. Without you, I'd never get back home. Well, we can't have you stranded here. I talked with your medical team. They've cleared you for release. You can leave anytime you wish. Judd's brows raised in surprise. That quickly? Yes, just let us know when you're ready. Judd took a look around the craft and scratched his chin. There's just one problem, Dr. Kendron. Where's the life pod? I need it to go home in. Not anymore, you don't. Our engineers made some improvements to the propulsion system. It will get you home much faster. I think a week of flying in the simulator will give you enough practice to safely get back to Earth. Judd and Dr. Kendron walked back down the steps to the hangar. I'll arrange for the simulator to be ready for you in the morning. Have a good evening, Judd. As Judd left the aeronautics complex, his head spun. After nearly 2 years on a foreign planet, you'd think I'd be giddy to go home. He stopped and looked at the blue sky and smelled the ocean breeze. But somehow my heart hurts leaving here. I've made friends on Linden. The more I've learned about this planet and its people, the more I admire and appreciate them. A sentimental pang went through Judd's heart. Then again, I do miss home. I miss ball games at the stadium and hikes in the mountains. I miss my friends, and I miss seeing familiar places. I even miss having a pet. In fact, I think as soon as I get home, I'm getting a dog. The thought of a cuddly puppy brought a smile to his face. He missed Rex, and he thought of the sweet English setter Speckles that his family had when he was a boy. Yes, when I get home, I'm getting a dog. Home. He liked the sound of that. And will I ever have a story to tell when I'm back on Earth? I'll have all the information from the library that I learned. I'll have all the artifacts from Linden that the people here have given me. I'll even have a spacecraft they can learn from. Why, I'll have a hero's welcome when I return. Judd was amazed the next morning, and the simulator proved tricky at times. This thing has so much power. It's the difference between driving a go-kart and driving in a NASCAR race. It's so much fun, though. As long as I don't kill myself, that is. His one near-death experience was enough for Judd, so he focused on learning the intricacies of his new flying machine. The next week, when he wasn't practicing in the simulator, Judd spent saying goodbye to his friends. He soaked up as much of the alien experience as he could before he left the planet. Yes, he wanted to return someday, but who knew when that would be? On launch day, friends and spectators gathered around to send him off. Dignitaries spoke at the reception, and bands played rousing tunes. Seated inside the ship, Judd wiped tears from his eyes as the door shut, blocking his last views of life on Linden. The engines roared to life, humming pleasantly once liftoff was complete. In a few hours, Judd saw the bright blue globe of Earth on his monitor. For the first time, he allowed himself to picture the scene of his arrival. Flags flying, military bands playing, the generals awaiting his successful return. It all took shape in his mind. Judd sat a little straighter and smiled. Earth, you look beautiful. He choked up just a bit as he saw the continents more clearly. Over the communication set, he tried once again to reach someone back at the control center. This is odd. The equipment shows that they are picking up, but no one is responding. I've been trying for the past half hour. Control, this is Commander Judd Simpson. I am returning to Earth. Please respond. He shook his head as he heard nothing back. Maybe the transmitter still isn't fixed. Oh well, I'll be home soon.
Judd concentrated on plugging the landing coordinates into the control panel. Almost there now. He tried one more time to reach the command center, but it was to no avail. Judd's heart rate quickened, and he smiled a big smile. In a few minutes, I'll be getting a hero's welcome. Think of all I have to tell about Linden. This will change life on Earth forever. We can finally put to rest the question of, is there intelligent life out there? I can't wait to introduce my friends on Earth to my friends from Linden. And the technology. Why, just the modifications to my ship will take us leaps and bounds ahead once we learn how to utilize these materials and the propulsion system. Judd made the final adjustments and leaned back in his chair. As the ship approached the landing pad, he saw military units lining the area. His heart raced, and the pride he felt caused his chest to puff out. The touchdown proved so gentle that Judd double-checked the instruments to make sure he had truly landed. Whatever modifications they made to this ship, this is unlike anything I've ever experienced. Smooth as butter. Judd took off his safety harness, stood, and walked to the hatch door. A push of a button later, the door opened and a ramp extended from the ship to the ground. Stepping out into the bright sunlight, Judd beamed. Soldiers surrounded the ship as he spotted the 3 generals. He called out to them, "Generals, our mission was a success!" The crowd gasped in horror. General Thurman nodded the go-ahead to his waiting troops. Gunshots rang out as automatic weapons emptied their magazines. Judd crumpled onto the asphalt. Scientists rushed to his body. "Just what in the hell is this thing? It has scales, a tail, and a snout full of teeth, and it looks like some sort of crocodile." While fascinated, the men recoiled from the horrific sight. Judd's eyes bulged, and his tongue lolled out from between his jagged reptilian teeth. The infusions that saved his life on Linden had also sealed his fate on Earth. General Helms leaned over to General Stanton.
"We've never seen a ship like this before. It's been 10 years since we sent out Commander Simpson to Planet Cash. That poor son of a bitch. No telling what those creatures did to torture him. Obviously, they stole our technology. Look at the shape of the cockpit."
Agreed. And that vicious bellow the thing made when it charged towards us.
There's no doubt about it. This is war.
Thank you for joining me for Into the Night, an anthology series written by Caroline Giammanco, narration and sound design by Nari Kwak, theme music by Nico Rodriguez. All original music and editing in part provided by Flyboy Entertainment. You can find our links in the show notes. Please remember to like and subscribe, and if you enjoy what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review to help other excursionists to join us. You can find us on your favorite podcast directory. See you next time. And remember, whether in the shadows or in the daylight, all twisted paths take you into the night. Into the Night is a Creative Typo Entertainment production.